you're the head of talent relations in 1997.
I'm a big shot, man. Living off these energy drinks. Sorry, honey, can you come get me?
So in the summer of 97, while you're the head of talent relations, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels are not getting along. Backstage, they're saying things in promos.
Yeah.
You know, there's the famous backstage fight where Bret pulled part of Shawn's hair out. What do you do as the head of talent relations? How do you deal with that?
Go to Vince. He's making more money than I am. So what do you want to do? No, we have to discuss it. Communications are key and all that stuff. That's one thing I brought to the table when I got there was better communication within our little group. You know, Pat and Bruce were kind of an island to themselves. Like that analogy I give Savage in announcing. There's three of you, Randy, JR, and Bobby. And so he separated himself. It's like it'd be like when JR did his deal where I had my own announce table. One of those crazy ass piece of ideas. So it's that's how that worked.
Did you and Vince, did you think it was salvageable, that there was a way for Shawn and Bret to work together, or was it just becoming too difficult?
We had our doubts. We thought there's a good chance they'd completely burn the bridge. And I think that was true for then. It's amazing, however, now how people get over stuff. And I would not feel intimidated or doubtful that it would be successful for Bret and Shawn to do anything together. I think it would work out perfectly to the best of their abilities because they're pros and they got over it. That's the key thing. You got to get over it. And you got to help me get over it. That's what I tell guys sometimes. Or I'd say something like, I use this with the guys. I don't remember it. It's funny, I have these flashbacks and I can remember shit like it was yesterday, 30 years ago. And sometimes I can't remember. You got to get along, you're going to move along. If it's like the guy said to Leroy McGurk one time, I want to come to your territory, but the one thing about it is that you had two deals. My wife is my manager, so that got that's a strike. Women in management positions in that era, are you shitting me? Come on, ain't gonna happen. Not in that territory, or many territories. But he told Leroy on the phone, if I have to lose, this is not going to work. Some heel he's bringing in, a heel. It don't hurt for a heel to lose if it's done correctly. So Leroy said to him on the phone, I said it right there, I heard it. He said, I'm not smart enough to book it that way. If you have issues losing, I have issues with you winning. And they moved along, and the guy never came to territory. It's pretty. I can't remember. I remembered it at one time, but he was a pretty famous guy too, big time talent, top heel. So, see ya.
Well, I mean, the Bret and Shawn stuff, I mean, I know this has been talked about a million times, but it leads to Montreal at Survivor Series 97. Again, you're head of talent relations, you're also the commentator, you're out there for the main event at Survivor Series with Shawn and Bret.
Yeah.
It all goes down. What do you remember about, you going backstage, what you have to do?
Oh, I got the one that was over. First of all, I didn't know the finish. Bret and Shawn. It's one of these deals in wrestling. And you guys have been around now, you're smart to the business and you're fans, you follow the business side of it. I'm sure to some degree, everybody here, read the dirt sheets or whatever. and that's cool. I don't think anybody in the wrestling business, like myself, should get pissed off at anybody like you for educating yourself on the art form of pro wrestling and behind the scenes business, even though the behind the scenes oftentimes is a gritty, grimy underbelly. And I should put that in my next book. But seriously, it's like the mafia. I was telling my lovely driver Fee on the way over here that it was like we're like the mafia. It's almost some sort of institutional ritual to get in. They have their own little language called Carney, which every Mark here could speak. I don't know why it's even existing. Everybody understands it. It was created so they could communicate with each other like sitting on a train back in the day. People traveling by train. So they could have a conversation. They mean that the wrestlers, throw down boy, and nobody would understand their talk. So, and it was a deal where the strong survived. In other words, if you asked me to do a top 10, well, I mentioned this earlier, my top 10 would be based on earnings, money, not, boy, his arm drags are really cool. Who gives a shit? Arm drag's not going to make you no money. It adds to your game, your presentation. That's good. Let's be serious about it. The guys that sell tickets and draw money are the ones that are going to stay and be utilized. And so it's a good thing. So I don't think you can get around that deal. Money is the key element to any top 10 rankings of all-time greats. If they didn't draw big money, then you can't put them on your Mount Everest.
But once, I mean, you didn't know the finish for Montreal, then you go backstage, but you're also the head of talent relations, so you've kind of got to talk to talent, either then or the next day. How are talent feeling?
When that deal was over, when the show was over, I don't know where Lawler went. I would have been right with him if I could have. But I was riding with Vince and the guys. They put me in Vince's locker room and locked the door and put a guard out there. They were afraid that anybody affiliated or associated with the process could possibly get the kicked out of them, including me, because I was head of talent. I knew what was going down and all that stuff, which wasn't true. I mean, I can admit it today. It's been, I don't know how many years ago it's been. It's been quite a while, right?
28 years.
Yeah, there you are. Well, he finally told the truth. The truth is what I'm telling you. That's what I said from the start. I didn't know what the finish was going to be. I didn't know who was going to win. I knew this much. I knew that Brett was going to retain the title. And I assumed it was going to be by disqualification. And that's what I heard. And I went into that show believing that was the finish, because that's what I'd been told. And it wasn't. It wasn't.
But when you're in that locker room with Vince and the door's locked, and then he decides he's going to go to Brett's dressing room, have you got any advice for him at that point? Are you going, do not go there, or what are you doing at that point?
Vince and I had a little talk before he got his ass kicked. I said, how could you expect me to run this department? I said, I've done a pretty good job so far. We hired some good guys. One class had Cena in it, and who else? Batista, Brock Lesnar. There's somebody else in that group.
Shelton Benjamin.
Shelton Benjamin, for sure. Best athlete of the group. So those 4 blue chip guys, Cena, Batista, Randy Orton,
Brock.
and Brock. Not a bad day's work, JR. We've got them all signed, we own them, in essence. That sounds like a tyrant. We don't own them, but you know what I mean. They're signed up. Now I got to turn them over to the trainers and hope that the trainers can connect with the guys and do a good job.
But when you say to Vince, how am I supposed to do this job if this happens?
Well, yeah,
what was his
my
reply?
question, my statement was, how do you expect me to be effective in this role if you don't, like I was going to do something about it. I wasn't. I wanted to go to the edge of the land of unknown, and that's denying Vince or not acknowledging Vince's power. You don't want to do that. If you step over the line, you're in trouble. And, that was my point. It was running smoothly. Now, nobody's going to trust me. But I didn't know. So he said, I said, why did you do that? And he said, the talents will find out soon enough that you had nothing to do with it, because the last thing I wanted to do is cut off your communication with talents, because they're happy now, they're making money, we're all making money, and all that good stuff. So we addressed that matter. And he never intervened again until the end, until I was gone. Then it was Laurinaitis came aboard. And I'm not, I hired him, so I hired him to help me. So I brought him in, and then he took my spot.
But I mean, when you have that conversation with Vince, and then the next day after Montreal, what is it? What are the talent like? Are they not trusting you? Are they kind of trying to revolt? Like, what's the atmosphere the day after Survivor Series?
Some were leery to talk to me. Some were still probably pissed off at the finish. Brett's very popular. Talents loved him. I loved him. I love him today. But I had nothing to do with this Montreal business whatsoever.
And Mick Foley famously didn't come to TV the next day, right? Mick
Foley called me, yeah, I think he called me that night in the hotel. Mick was very upset. Mick might have been the most upset guy of the group, because he said, I'm going home. And I knew at that moment, there wasn't really anything I could say that's going to prevent that from happening. If you feel so distraught about this matter and you're deeply troubled by it, then get your ass home. Don't worry about the rest of the business. My only concern was when you're coming back. And he didn't know that. It really is an unfair question of me. But he was back in that weekend or something. His revolt was like 2 or 3 days. And he got over it. Isn't that amazing how that happens?
Something I was always curious about was about 2 weeks after, or a month after Survivor Series, Owen Hart comes back to WWF. Did Owen want to go? Did Vince just not want him to go? What led to Owen coming back? Because you would think he would not want to come back and be a part of the company.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons he would want to come back. And I'm sure that if he had chosen, he could have gone to WCW in a heartbeat, and/or Japan type stuff. The Harts had a great reputation in Japan because Stu used them in the States. I saw pictures of the day online, Stu and some big executives that was like it was a wrestler that turned executive. So he was good. They were all good in Japan, but they just didn't make that call. They didn't do it. So, but we wanted Owen. Owen was a valuable and a very talented guy, a valuable guy. His behind-the-scenes shit was strong because he could work with the boys. The boys trusted the Harts, and the Harts trusted the boys by and large. And Britt's little issue with Sean, and Sean's little group was kind of nerve-wracking at times. But they did good. They did some good stuff. You have holes in your socks? No, you don't. Well, it looks like a hole. Look, right there.
They're planets.
I know. And you're that idiot on, what's that show that airs endlessly here? You know, with Sheldon and...
Big Bang Theory.
What?
Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory.
See how different that is? When he tries, he can speak good. It's like goddamn slang and street talk.
So coming out of Montreal, Vince becomes the Mr. McMahon character. He sits down with you on Raw and says that Brett screwed Brett, all that stuff. When Vince becomes that Mr. McMahon character, did he want to do it? Did he embrace doing it? Or did he feel like he had to do it?
He loved it. Loved it. Finally, the attitude has come back to WWE. It's kind of how it was. Not finally, The Rock has come back, but Vince has come back to what he's naturally built to do. Vince's work as Mr. McMahon took very little acting. He could show rage, he could be dramatic, he could be, all those things, that effusive when he needed to. When he wanted to really screw with you, he could try to be funny at something that wasn't funny. He was a great villain. He was the best villain we had. The Catalyst, and his catalyzation of that's the word, helped Triple H, because everybody knew Triple H was connected to the McMahons through Stephanie and Vince. So that was a perfect TV angle. And I'll give Triple H credit for all of that. He came through, man. Young guy, getting a shot, and then he becoming what he is today, I think really started in the Attitude Era. Because he got the chance, Triple H got the chance there to express himself without fear of reprisal. We had a locker full of guys who could have done the same thing, but they're all worried about, if I give Vince an idea that don't work, he's going to be pissed and he's look at me like I'm a fool. So guys, just shut up. That's bad. That's really bad. But Triple H, because of his connection to the old man, was able to connect somehow. I heard the other day, somebody told me this, I can't remember who it was, and maybe that Vince is going to start another wrestling company. God knows he's got the money. Once he gets all of this, he settles all of his disagreements with his various sundry ones, he'll be very financially secured and still to do this deal. My question is, there's no doubt that he can get talent. You get expiring contracts. Maybe you get lucky and you hire somebody that knows how to pick talent. You can develop them a little bit, which is imperative. But that's his issue, is getting TV time and you know, that's, your talent is key. And that's what troubles me with it. I don't know where you can get your talent from unless you go pay lots of money to guys to come in and exorbitant salaries for a few hand-picked guys.
Do you think with all sort of public perception of Vince, how old he is, all that kind of stuff, do you think if he did decide to start a wrestling company, it could work? Or do you think it...
Do I think Vince's idea will work?
Do you think if he started a wrestling company today?
Challenging, very challenging. It might work, but I don't want to say it won't work, but I'm iffy about it, Kenny, at this point. He's got the financial backing to do it. He's got the cash, but I don't know where you get the talent and enough talent, the right talent to make it work. I hope it would. It'd be cool. The more places that you can have that give talent an opportunity to work, to me, is a good thing. I don't know what others think about it, but I know being one in the business, I know my career is nearing the end. I was thinking about it on the plane coming over here. You know, I wonder how many more times I get to do this, because I enjoy these. You know, when I ain't got to climb 100 stairs. I fell in this son bitch twice today. Lucky I didn't hurt something. But it was what it was.
You mentioned Triple H there. Let's talk about him. When he became...
Talk about who?
Triple H. Triple H.
Thank you very much. Let's hear for Kenny, everybody.
So when Triple H became a massive star in '99, he won the title for the first time. There was some perceptions about him, right? There was the perception that he had been part of the clique with the curtain call. There was the perception that he was the one who suggested the screw job. What was Triple H like to work with behind the scenes in 1999 when he's coming up?
Well, first of all, I don't think Triple H had anything to do of significance with the Montreal Screwjob. A lot of people probably that were close enough to Vince to ask him were probably wondering, what are you going to do? Because they knew Brett was leaving. When the belt going to come back over here? So maybe those, I can't hardly believe, I might be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, that somebody suggested this finish to Vince. He and I talked about it, but I wasn't the lead guy on that deal, but I talked to him about it at his behest.
Did you have advice for him for Montreal? Did you have advice of what you thought he should have done?
Well, no. I thought that what should have been done, if the champion is leaving, he just does the job. Just do it. Have a great match. The champion, Brett, could look good. He misses something. Sean immediately takes over and beats him. Vince said, oh, you'll never go over that. You'll never go over that. And that told me at that time, when you lose control of your champion, the others will follow. Vince knew that. So we just didn't, we couldn't do it. It was not the ideal finish. But I'll tell you this, it sure surprised people. I didn't think Vince would do it that way. And most of the talent didn't either. I talked to Undertaker, Mick. They were not in favor of that finish. And look, they had you said, what businesses are theirs? They had a vested interest in it. They're going to wrestle this guy. If he's not over in the eyes of the public to your TV production, then we're going to draw less money. If we draw less money, then I'm going to get paid less. So they had a good argument. But I never dreamed Vince would do the screw job.